this video, I'm going to be giving you a guide on every single race in Blox Fruits and also telling you about some secrets that you might have not known about them. So starting off, there are 4 main races in this game, and those are human, shark, angel, and rabbit. And these are the 4 races that anybody can spawn in as. Although you probably are going to spawn in as human because you have a 50% chance of that happening. There are also 2 other races, and this is the Cyborg and Ghoul race. You cannot spawn in or change into these races. You need to get them in doing quests or buying them. Any normal player cannot change their quest in the first seat unless you spend a bunch of Robux and buy it from the product shop. This costs 90 Robux, so it's probably better to buy it with fragments. And the place you buy with fragments from is in the second seat. You walk over to Troll, who's located in the cafe, and then if you give him 3,000 fragments, you can just roll to a different random race. Now we got the human race, and this is the most popular race in the game, and it's the one that almost every player uses currently. The thing about the human race is it does not have any default buffs. You literally get nothing in its first form. And the way you upgrade it to its second form is by doing the alchemist quest. And the place the alchemist is located is in the green zone in the second sea. And once you talk to him, he's going to give you a quest to find 3 different types of flowers. A red flower, a blue flower, and a yellow flower. And once you've done that, you need to pay him 500,000 belly, and he'll upgrade your race to V2. And the way you get your human race to V3 is by finding this NPC located in this secret place underneath the diamond boss. And keep in mind, the V3 quest is different for every single race, and this is the one that you have to do if you're a human. This quest will tell you to kill 3 different bosses in the second sea: the diamond boss, Jeremy, and Fatija. And these bosses are all fairly easy to kill if you have the Buddha fruit, so I recommend you guys use this fruit for this quest. And remember, do not server hop when you do this quest, because if you leave the game in the middle of this quest, when you join back, it does not save your progress. So you just have to sit in the map and wait for the bosses to respawn. Or you could spend 50 Robux to respawn every boss in the game. And for the V4 of the human race, you need to do the Temple of Time puzzle and then do the Trial of Strength. And the requirements this are mirror fractals, which you get from killing the Doe King. And obviously you need your race to be V3, and you have to have killed Rip Indra, the literal final boss of the game. And then you have to wait for the Mirage Island to spawn, which is a really rare sea event. And you need 2 other friends with 2 different races. A really good thing about the human race is that when you upgrade it to V3, you get an ability called Last Resort. When you use this ability, if your health is less than 50%, it starts immensely increasing your damage output. But something that's not so good about the human race is that the Last Resort ability can be really risky in PvP because you need to be on low health to use its full potential. The duration for this is also pretty short, so it might not be such a great ability to use. But overall, the human race, in my opinion, is probably one of the best races in this game, and if you spawn in as a human, you definitely want to stay as one. Now we have the shark race, and on joining the game, every player has a 12.5% chance to be granted this race, making it pretty rare to get, way rarer than the human one. So the V1 ability, the damage you take from water reduces immensely if you have a devil fruit equipped in. And it also makes you swim a bit faster. And once you upgrade this race to V2, doing the same quest as the human one, because the V2 quest for every race in the game is the same. So the abilities that you get from V2 is it increases your player speed, and it completely removes the damage that you take from water, even if you have a Blox fruit equipped in. So you could literally have the most overpowered fruit, and if somebody was to knock you into the water, you literally wouldn't drown, which is really overpowered. And did I also mention that this race gives you a little fin on your back, which kind of looks a bit cute. And to upgrade your shark race into V3, you talk to the same NPC as for the human quest, and all you have to do is kill a sea beast. It cannot be a sea beast that is summoned by other players or admins. It has to be one that spawns naturally. The easiest way to do this is just to drive your boat out into the middle of nowhere and just simply wait for a sea beast to spawn. And then once it spawns in, you just have to use every ability, preferably a devil fruit, and I definitely recommend Death Step for this because it's the easiest to farm sea beasts with. And once you've done that, you should get the V3 of your shark race. And you get a new ability called Water Body. This decreases the damage you take by 80% from NPCs and other players. But the thing about it is that it only lasts for 6.5 seconds and has a 30-second cooldown. And once you upgrade this race to V4, you get ancient powers. When you transform, you receive max stats. Literally every stat you have in your inventory is fully maxed. Your damage, speed, and your heal increase by 10%. And you also gain a water shield called Leviathan's Armor, which increases by doing damage. So it's kind of like the opposite of the human. If you're low on health, all you have to do is dish out damage and you get your health back. And you also get an ability called Whirlpool. It gives your enemies a water debuff and it slows down their speed. And did I also mention that the transformation for all race V4s look really crazy? Just keep watching to find out what the others look like. Now we have the Angel race, and this race also has a 12.5% chance of getting this race when you first join the game. When you have the version 1 of the Angel race, the jump height that you have increases by a slight amount, and you also immediately unlock the air jump ability, even if you did buy it from the abilities teacher, which is kind of overpowered for new players. And you also get a small pair of wings on your back. And once you upgrade your race to V2, your air jump ability goes slightly higher than every other race. And the energy requirement for air jumping is reduced by 20%, which lets you save a lot of energy, especially if you're newer to the game and you don't have as many stats on your energy. And you also gain an additional air jump, which is pretty cool. But there are no visual changes for this stage. And the way you upgrade this race to V3 is by getting the Arrows quest, and then you need to kill a player with the same race as you. You literally have to kill another Angel player. And once you've done that, the abilities you get are one step higher. You unlock an ability called Heavenly Blood, and when this is activated, it increases your defense by 15%. And it also heals 20% of your maximum health, making it a pretty good ability for healing. And it also regenerates a bit of your energy. And once you awaken this race by upgrading it to V4, you receive an ability called King's Rule, which adds an aura around the user with multiple effects: slowness, damage, energy drain, screen, and distortion. And these are kind of OP. I can't imagine fighting against someone with the Angel race. You also acquire one called Prince of the Sky. This allows the user to glide in the air by holding the dash button, and then free flight by holding the jump button, which is really cool. It's kind of like Minecraft creative mode. And your wings also grow much bigger, and you start glowing in this really cool golden color. And now we have the Rabbit race, previously known as the Mink race, but it was changed because of copyright. Instantly, it increases your speed by 1.5x, literally making you run so much faster than every other player around you. Once you upgrade it to V2, it increases your movement speed to double. You literally run twice as fast as a normal player. And it also decreases the amount of energy it takes to use your dash from 25 to 15, making it really spammable and overpowered. To upgrade it to V3, you talk to the same NPC as before, and for this quest, you have to collect 30 chests. And once this is upgraded to V3, you earn an ability called Agility. And when you activate this ability, it makes you 4 times faster, literally. And it also increases your dash length slightly, on top of the base improvement. And once you awaken your race by reaching V4, you get the base ability that all other awakenings have. And then you get an ability called Whirlwind. It literally spawns in a tornado. Can you imagine that? Every time you dash, you spawn in a tornado. And what the tornadoes do is that they literally trap enemies for a solid second. Another one is called Lightning Cloak, and what this does is it increases your dashes to be even longer. And if you upgrade this ability, you can literally super dash. Just imagine how far that takes you. Overall, in my opinion, this is a really good race, especially for the speed aspect. I'm pretty sure this is the fastest race in the whole game. So if your PvP style revolves around speed, this is definitely the race you want to keep your eye on. And now this is the first race that you cannot naturally get by spawning into the game. It's the Cyborg race. And the way you get the Cyborg race is by completing the Cyborg puzzle quest. First, you have to get the Fist of Darkness. Then you have to start an order raid and insert the Fist of Darkness into the machine. Then you have to buy the microchip. And once you're done with this quest, you can buy the race for 2,500 fragments. In its first version, it gives you absolutely no buffs, but you do have a physical change. You basically get a metallic mask on your head, which looks pretty sick in my opinion. And once you upgrade this race to V2, you get a 10% defense against all melee, sword, and gun attacks. 15% of the damage you receive will just turn into energy, which is kind of machine-like. I guess that's why it's called Cyborg.
Stop the cap!
And the way you upgrade Cyborg to V3 is also really easy, even easier than the Rabbit's quest. All you have to do is give the NPC any physical Blox Fruit. You could literally give him a kilo fruit and he would accept it. And once you've upgraded this to V3, you gain an ability called Energy Core, and when this is activated, it boosts the player's defense by 30%. And you also get a lightning effect around your body, and it does more damage to players depending on what your level is. And the pretty cool about this lightning ability is that it breaks observation, which is really good for PvP. And once this ability is awakened by upgrading to V4, you get an ability called energy control. It lets the user super jump. I mean, like, you can jump really high with this. You also get an ability called aftershock. Every attack you dish out, they basically don't let your enemy use the observation. And this is really critical in PvP because observation is the reason between winning and losing PvP fights. Overall, this race is not as good as the other ones, but it's definitely something you want to keep your eye on. And now we got another one of the special races. This is the Ghoul race. And to obtain the Ghoul race, you need to be at least level 1000, and you need 100 ectoplasm, which is dropped by NPCs at the cursed ship. And you also need a Hellfire Torch, which only has a 1 to 2% chance of being dropped by the cursed captain, who only spawns every night. So the Hellfire Torch is going to be really difficult to get. And once you have all the requirements, you can talk to a Streamic, who can be found at the kitchen on the cursed ship, and change your race into a Ghoul. The V1 of the Ghoul race gives you a 30% extra run speed in the night, and you also get these really cool pair of black horns on your head. And once you upgrade this to V2, every time you hit another player with a fighting style, it heals 25% of the damage you do to the other player, which is literally 1/4, and that's kind of overpowered. And you also heal 5% of your health at the same time. And the way you upgrade your Ghoul race to V3 is by talking to the exact same NPC as before, but this time you have to kill 5 different players. And this is probably one of the harder quests, so make sure you have the fighting styles ready to take on those 5 players. And once you upgrade to V3, you unlock an ability called Heightened Senses. And while this is activated, it lets you use skills that are still on a 40% cooldown, and that's almost half, which is really OP. And it also buffs your overall damage by 10%, your speed by 10%, and your defense by 15%. And this ability lasts for 8 seconds, literally 2 seconds longer than all of the abilities for the other races. Once you upgrade this race to V4 and awaken it, you gain an ability called Blood Siphon. And this gives all of your attacks Life Leech, which is kind of OP. Keep in mind that this is weaker on NPCs. And the second ability that you get is Domain Expansion. And what this does, it creates a huge dark field around your player, which reduces the health, regeneration, and applies blindness to everybody standing inside it. And remember, all the night passive abilities that your race has, you can now use them during the day. And in the upgraded version, crows will attack nearby enemies, increasing your field of range. And a really cool visual change is that you get this glowing red crown added to your head, which makes your player look so much better. And this transformation is by far one of my favorites. Your character gains wings similar to the angel race, and you glow with this really cool black and white aura.